into the Lover's card. And the Lover's card, so when you look at this card, what do you think when you look at this card? Love. Love, nice sweetness, and what jumps out at you at this card? There's a lot in this card. So what do you notice? What pops out at you?
The colors.
Sorry?
Colors.
Colors.
Duality?
Okay. The duality, yes, absolutely, the colors and the duality. So let's go with colors first. So what's the colors?
Orange and red.
Mm-hmm.
Orange
Yeah.
reds.
So what do those colors tell you? We're dealing with which chakras?
Heart chakra.
Second.
Mm-hmm. Second.
Second chakra.
Mm-hmm. And a little bit of the third, because the yellowish kind of tone right through there.
And the
Okay.
root.
And the root.
And the root, exactly. Then the other thing that you want to look at is the duality. So notice everything's in pairs. So you've got the king and the queen, you've got the light queen and the dark king. You've got the monk with the big two hands over the two people, kind of saying, blessing this union kind of thing. You've got the light child and the dark child. You've got the white eagle and you've got the red lion. And then you've got Adam and Eve at the top, at the very top in the corners is Adam and Eve. And then you got the Cupid, and of course Cupid is blindfolded because what? Love is
Blind.
Blind. So Cupid is shooting his little arrows, randomly in different places. Okay. So when somebody gets this card, again, you want to think of that first love, that infatuation love. I call this the puppy love card. So this is that card where you're really blind. You have no idea what you've just fallen in love with, right? So remember I'll use myself as the example. So when I was a good Catholic raised girl, right? So what do good Catholic girls want to go out with in high school?
Good Catholic boys.
Bad boys.
Bad boys.
The motorcycle boys. And that's because of the duality. That's because of the polarity. Because it's through love you learn about your lost parts, your lost aspects. So it's classical that the sweet, perfect girl falls in love with the uptown girl, falls in love with the downtown boy, right? That whole kind of thing. And so at first, when you fall in love, you're falling in love not with a person per se, but the lost parts of yourself. Okay, so this is like infatuation. So there's three kinds of love. There's infatuation, which is puppy love, which is where you go, oh my God, he's perfect in every way. He's the one, right? So when you have that feeling, all your warning lights should go off because you basically just pulled in the reflection of your shadow. Okay, you pulled in the reflection of your shadow to learn to love it. Okay, and then there's love, which is the basis of your life. I mean, you can love your dog, you can love your mother, you can love chocolate ice cream. There's a lot of things that you can love, but love should be the basis for your life. And then there's sexual polarity. And sexual polarity is that kind of thing where you're walking down the street and you see a person coming towards you and there's a spark of energy and you don't even know that person. Like, you don't even know that person and you're thinking, what the heck was that? Like and your brain goes, I don't know this person, what's wrong with me, kind of thing. But there's this spark of sexual polarity, and that's because it's like if you're way over here in feminine land and that person is exactly in masculine land to the opposite position, it creates a polarity like two magnets on a pole. And it will create a spark, and you will feel that spark. And sometimes that'll work, but sometimes it doesn't work because, again, you don't really know that person, kind of thing. So, but you feel that it's like, oh wow. What was that? That's kind of cool. So, but this is infatuation. So this is puppy love, this is the beginning love. And I know when people pull this card, everybody wants this card and thinks it's really cool and all that kind of stuff. But this is not the best card for me. Okay, so like if I was to fall in love, I'm not sure this is the one I want to be getting. It would tell me I'm at the beginning of a love and I'm kind of in an infatuated, romantic love state. But I'm not really being rational. I'm having a chemical hormonal release, not necessarily knowing who this person is, and I'm projecting in some way. So at the bottom, this card is Gemini. And Gemini is the sign of the twins, which is why we have the duality. So if you look at this card And then you go forward into the art card, which is right here. What you're going to notice is again how we had the Hanged Man card and the Emperor card with the 4 with the legs, right? Now we've got 2 dualities, but this is infatuated love, and the art card actually is where it's kind of come together. So what's happened is the King and the Queen are separate here, but the King and the Queen and the art card have merged. The white eagle is turned into a red eagle, and the red lion is turned into a white lion. So it's about the alchemy and the transmutation of love through the integration of duality and opposition. Okay? So I'm just bringing that up while we start to look at this so you can kind of play. So if you look at this card, again it looks like the flying buttresses of the cathedrals in Europe, the big flying buttresses, okay? So, but those flying buttresses also look like a skeleton, They kind of have a bony kind of thing. So there's a sacredness to this card, but there's also kind of a rigidity to this card. Like, you know, again, notice we just came out of the rules of society, the rules of religion. And so now we're like, the rules of society say that we need to fall in love, and love is supposed to look a certain way. It's supposed to look like marriage and babies and all this kind of stuff. So you've taken the rules and you've overlaid it. And so it's really common that when we're younger, we fall in love with somebody and we feel sexual energy and we think we're supposed to marry them, right? Maybe not, do you know what I mean? But that's the rules. The rules are like, I'm feeling sexual energy, you must be the one, right? And it takes so much to rein in sexual energy and rein in life force energy, which is why the tarot is so beautiful about creating balance, because we want you to cognitively have a rational, visual brain that can analyze things, but you also cannot deny that you have a primal part of your brain and a part of you that wants to procreate and wants to be passionate, and you have to have balance between these, but at first there's no balance. So I don't know if you know this, but when you fall in love, you release oxytocin, and when you release oxytocin, your brain registers as crazy. So really, you know, if they take a brain scan of you, your brain looks like you're manic. Okay? And so everybody goes through this when they first fall in love. And when you're younger and you have all those hormones running like crazy, I mean, you have no control over this whatsoever. And it's like, he's perfect in every way, she's perfect in every way, everything is beautiful at the ballet kind of thing. And that's not necessarily true. You've projected your illusion onto this person and you're not really seeing the person. Okay? You're seeing what you want to see. Okay? So what you've got here is you've got the dark king and the light queen, because you're always drawn to your opposites in order to find balance within yourself. You've got the ermine coats, and ermine is a sign of royalty. You've got the little boy with the club, which is showing his masculine aggressive energy, and notice the club is down. So love makes us drop our aggressive nature, which is a good thing. And the little girl is holding flowers, okay, and so she's, you know, got her flowers. They're both kind of connecting with these chalices. You know, he's got the spear and the spear, and she's got the chalice. You've got the egg with the snake wrapped around it again with the wings. So the winged egg with the snake again, which again you want to think of the winged egg with the snake as the sperm and the egg coming together. So the sperm is the snake, the egg is the ovum, and you know, that whole magical thing that happens when those two come together. Okay, you've got a lion with a bat wing. So what are bats to you?
I love bats.
Okay, but bats traditionally represent death and rebirth. Okay, so they're not necessarily a bad thing, but love is a death rebirth process, as you can kind of tell. So what is it? The prophet by Khayyal Gibran talks about love being a threshing floor. So if you're not willing to be threshed like wheat, you know, separated wheat from a chaff, don't fall in love, right? So that lion, the power of love, that royalty of love, has a bat wing, you know, which says, oh, it's a powerful thing for sure, and you will die and be reborn in some way, okay? And then the eagle is about that overview and clarity. And so again, when you fall in love, you start seeing pictures of the future and places you want to go and things you want to become and all that kind of thing. And then you've got Adam and Eve up at the top because, again, we have these rules about love as Adam and Eve and, the Garden of Eden. And, we're all trying to get back to the Garden of Eden inside of ourselves. But in order to do that, you have to resolve the duality within yourself. And the easiest way to resolve duality is to fall in love with the thing that you don't love within you. And so how many times did you fall in love with somebody and it was like, they were kind of your worst nightmare, and you thought later, why did I fall in love with this person? And it's because they're your worst nightmare. Like, you have judgment about what they are, what they represent, and by loving them, you have to learn to integrate that part of yourself in some way. So I think that covers most of this with this card. So if somebody gets this card, they are in
Beginning of love.
beginning of love. Now, I'm not going to say puppy love, even though that's what I'm going to think in my head. And how would I counsel them?
Don't do it.
Really look.
Take
at
it
the other
slow,
person.
be aware.
Don't run.
Yeah, you've fallen in love with your opposite. You've fallen in love with the unhealed parts of yourself, and you're learning to integrate them by loving this person. So it's a shadow aspect, and you may not see it at first, but it's a shadow aspect. So it's kind of like, I had a teacher of mine say one time that if you're in a party and you will automatically be drawn to the person that represents your mother and father's dynamic. That your neurological pathway was formed based on your parents' relationship. So you have dendrites that have formed that create what is, quote, home and family to you, even if it's not very good. So your neurological pathways are designed a certain way. So when you meet somebody that's the exact reflection of your family dynamic and your parents' love life, you will feel at home. And you will be like, don't I know you forever? I think you're the one. I feel like I've known you forever. Maybe it's a past life, right? And it's not that that is or it isn't, but you've actually just fallen in love with your parents. You just fell in love with the pattern of your childhood. And so, I mean, I did this many times. It's like, I picked these guys, and it was like, damn, I thought I hadn't picked my dad, and I just got my dad.
Mm-hmm.
Damn, I thought I hadn't picked my mom, and I just got my mom. Damn, now I got both of them together, right? And so you actually grow up through this process. Like, you learn to love your dad, you learn to love your mom, you learn to love the mixture between the two, and you evolve to the point that, so like I married my husband John, and my joke is that I married him because he was the best of my mother and father without the worst of my mother and father, okay? So like that was the best choice, it was the best thing that worked in that particular moment, right? So, but you will do this. And so this card again is that warning that this is the way it is. This is what everybody does. You're not being bad because you do it, but you want to be conscious that you're doing it. So you want to look at that other person. I would coach anybody I'm reading and say, look at the other person. Can you see how they're like your mother or dad? Can you see where they're like the pattern? And so oftentimes I'll say to somebody, what is the pattern that you have in your family? What was the pattern that showed up in your family? And say their pattern in their family was that they never felt appreciated. And I'll say, then that's what you just got. So at the beginning, you'll feel appreciated. And at some point, he will go or she will go into the pattern of not appreciating you, because that's the pattern. And then you will get upset and angry, and you're going to have to learn how to ask for it or to grow through it and not need it. Like somehow you're going to have to figure something out because that's what's going to show up. So I try to get the person to be aware that this is the pattern, and I don't care what their pattern is. I ask them. I don't know. I'm a psychic, but I don't know. I'm like, I know something's happening and I know there's a pattern here. I'm just trying to figure it out.